This here's a Wraith 1.9, and if you have one, then you probably know the problems about the battery tray. Let me know in the comments what you have done to fix it. So we're going through and fixing up this Wraith 1.9 from all the problems that I have caused over the years. And the last thing is the battery tray, or really the lack of battery tray in the stock form. They make it to where you have to clip in a 5,000 milliamp hour 2-cell hard pack LiPo. It's pretty much the only thing that'll fit in there. And if you've been into crawlers long enough, you probably know that really nobody runs that battery. It's not a good crawling pack. The majority of folks, including myself, are going to be running these 3-cell, let's get one that doesn't have a sticker on top. These are 3,500 milliamp hour 3-cell packs, and it used to be they were 2,200 milliamp hours, but over the years this same form factor has gotten more and more milliamp hours in it. So this is what I love to use. They're not too big and heavy, because too big and heavy makes your rig not perform as well. The heavier the rig, the more likely it is that you're gonna break stuff. So these nice small packs, they still have plenty of run time. I mean, I can go an hour, sometimes 2 on one of these guys. It's just the right size. But the problem with the Wraith 1.9 is that, well, these fit, but they don't have any support, and they can just kind of fall through and spit out down through there. So what I did in a pinch at an event was the lowest cost solution of making a cardboard tray just to kind of jam in there, have something that would hold it in, and hey, you know, we're ready to go, we're ready to play. That works. However, it's, you know, you get wet once and just like a noodle, it's no longer straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remake this in plastic. And I have this sheet down here of, it doesn't feel like Kydex. I think this is acetal, Delrin, potentially. Or, no, y'all have to let me know in the comments. This stuff you can actually use the, it's like acetone or methyl ethyl ketone or something like that. Methanol, I think that's it. And it will form it. So I can't remember the plastic off the top of my head. Maybe y'all can remember in the comments there. So I'm gonna set this aside in my piles of stuff that y'all can't see. It's nice and neat up here, but down here, boy, let me tell you. All right, so what I'm gonna do is first, I'm gonna copy the width and the length, and we're gonna cut out a square, and then I have this thing that we can use to bend it with. I can also use this as a straight edge. So we'll do this right here. We're gonna pop that up and hope it's square enough. Looks square enough. And then try to get my knife off my pants. All right, I'm gonna make a little mark to show how far I need to cut so that I don't go too far. There we go. And then just a little, and a really sharp knife would be the best idea, but as usual, I have misplaced one of my blades around here that I would normally use for this. So this stuff will actually bend and break. And that's what I'm gonna do on this cut, is I'm gonna try to go all the way across, and then I'll bend it, and then try to break it. Yeah, does that look, that looks pretty straight. Let's get it straight with this so we can have a visual cue. Straight enough. If I wanted to be extra about it, you could, you know, measure here, and then measure here. Okay, it's a teeny bit crooked. There we go. Close enough. So then I'm just gonna go all the way across, gouge into the table at the end there. There we go. So I should, in theory, be able to just bend this, and then, yeah, there we go. Boop, just like so. And now, this one, if I etched it deep enough, it will also bend. Perfect. All right. So always keep some plastic sheeting hiding for your projects like this. Man, I can't remember which plastic type this is. That is going to bother me. So please, please in the comments, let me know what it is. It's usually white. Styrene, haha. It is styrene. This is styrene plastic. So what I could do to form this is heat it up and bend it with this. That would be one way to do it. The other way to do it is going to be to score it just like that and bend it halfway. However, seeing how well this snapped, I'm kind of worried about that. So I'm going to make a mark where our bends need to be. This is definitely the safe way to do it. Yeah, don't do that. So I know where one bend needs to be. The other bend, maybe we'll measure with something. It doesn't have to be an actual measuring device. We could just use this. All right, so I need to know, I mean, really it's just gonna be the width of this, right? That's tight. We've got these little battery tabs that should probably just be removed. So I'll start with this as the width. So I suppose we could just get our first bend, then mark for the second bend and go from there. All right. We shall use this blade to measure and mark. This is real accurate here. It's accurate enough, honestly. Now I'm just going to lightly etch this because I don't want it to actually break. I just want a good line. All right, now I'm going to run get my torch. All right, so I've got a torch and a heat gun. Technically the heat gun's going to be better because we're not going to catch it on fire. Torch is a lot more fun and probably faster as well. So let me know in the comments which you would use for this project. I think I'm going to go with a torch. The heat gun is a better idea, but you know, it's whatever. We need to catch stuff on fire here. All right, so in an ideal world, I would have two of these. I would heat it up. I would stick it right there and blah, right down the middle. This is not an ideal world, and I don't have two of these here. Do I have anything else that I could use that isn't plastic? Nope. All right. So first thing I'm going to try is just heating this up down the middle, and then I'll use, what's a good flat object? This could probably work well. Why not? Oh boy, I can smell that. All right, so it is bending. Look at that. It bends towards the heat, but as we get it nice and hot, it gets very plasticized. Oh yeah, like a wet noodle. Bam. Bend number one, nice and easy. So there was a little bit of heat marks on it. The bend radius is pretty tight though. And honestly, you know, the heat gun, yeah, the heat gun would be a better idea for this. But the bend, it's straight enough. It'll be straight enough for this purpose. So we're gonna let that cool because we don't want that touching hot battery. Guess I could put it on this side and have the aluminum suck the heat out. Potentially, we could lay it over the back side as well. Let's just, okay, that's not gonna allow it. So we could just lay it over the back side like this and heat it up and it should fold over. Let's see if we can form it a little better. Yeah, as you can see, it likes to bend towards the heat. There we go. If we had 2 pieces of metal, it would be a lot easier. I mean, if you really wanted to do it, you could heat up the metal itself, place it over there, and it would be kind of like a vacuum form without the vacuum, of course. But you use that, and then your second piece of material to squish it in, get a really nice tight bend radius. But I realize not everybody has a bunch of aluminum angle laying around. And this is the type that has a sharp 90 in it instead of the fillet, which I'm not sure why I have this. Oh, it was probably box, extruded box, and then I just sliced it. Yes, now I remember this was for a snow skate project. All right, step 1. That even overbent a little bit. I'm sure that'll be fine. Step 2, what I'm gonna do is use this for my width, because these are the batteries that I'm gonna use. And we can, let's see, what's gonna be the easiest way? Something like this. There we go. And then I would use that to mark and score. Score, oh, it moved. This stuff is slippery. There we go. We don't need much. There you go, nice little score line. It's more of just showing us where it needs to be bent more than anything. If I wanted to consider this good enough, then you could just break it off here. Of course, why would I have the extra length if I wasn't gonna use it? So now we have the choice of how are we gonna bend it over this. This is too wide to get into the inside right there. If we heat it up right here, there is a chance that it's gonna mush that bend just because the way this is. So our other choice is going to be to try to bend it over this way. This could actually work, and I believe it will work. So let's give it a shot. Why not? It's not exact. It's close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades, though. What about if we go this way? This would give us a little bit more, but we don't have. We have proper support. Oh, that's exact. Yeah, sure. We'll try it. I don't have high hopes for this second bend without having 2 pieces of metal to trap it between, but we'll try. We shall try. Something about like that. Let's see if I can get this down on the table without messing it up. There we go. You know, I suppose I could also just put the battery in there to give me spacing, but I don't want to use a torch on a battery. You don't want heat on batteries. All right, well, she'll move this just to be safe. I'm actually heating it up out this way first. If I heat it up too close to the inside, it's not gonna want to work right. Woo! Gotta be careful getting this torch upside down. Whoop, don't do that. Nope, don't do that. All right, we'll turn it down a little bit. All right, let's see if that was enough heat. Nope, not quite. Not quite. Well, it's making fingernail prints in it at least. Okay. Yeah, no. Let's just flatten that back out. It's getting a little, yeah, it's a little difficult with a torch. And since I'm having to go upside down, let's switch to the safe option. The one that's not gonna catch the place on fire. Close enough. If I'm just careful with it and go slow, I may be able to make this work. Low heat. I've had this Craftsman industrial heat gun for 2 decades at this point. Still works. Since it's a heat gun, I can be a little bit more exact with where I place the heat, and I can get it a lot closer to this edge. And as a matter of fact, I could preheat the aluminum itself to help with the bending action. Again, that is one way that we could have done this, was to make a form, but we'll see what we can do with minimal tools. All right, how hot did that get it? Hot enough to bend? Meh, not exactly. It's hot though. She's hot. So we will go up a little bit more on the heat. This says a 15 setting heat dial. I was on 4, 5, we'll turn it up to 8. It also has a little indicator up here. We can also go to a lower setting on the fan. That may help us control it a little bit too. I'm not noticing any heat marks like I did with the flames. Of course, the flames were very, very hot. This is not, comparatively. This is more like a hair dryer right now. You can see the lights going deek, dook, deek, dook, potentially at least. That's from this heat gun. I removed this one from the shop because of that. We did use this for heat shrink and everything. But it would make all the lights blink, and when we switched to LEDs, it made it far, far worse. To where if anybody was doing this in the shop, it was really hard to focus. And some people were getting headaches from it, so I pulled this one, and we got a regular old analog version at the shop, and it does not make everything blink. There we go. It's looking very bendy. I may have not put the heat in the right place though. Yep, unsupported. We're gonna flatten that back out before we have ourselves a problem. There we go. Yeah, it's getting a little wobbly, but as opposed to just being free floating, this will support the battery much better. All right, we're gonna try once more, and I'm gonna put the heat on the outside of the bend. With a low fan so it doesn't blow this thing around. The sheen on the plastic changes. All right, we'll see how this does. You can see how it is kind of bubbly. There we go. That's what we needed. Just have to be more careful with the heat affected zone. And of course I can shove this into the corner. There we go. This is getting to be more like a battery tray. Yeah, in an ideal world I would make this with a mold, honestly. Or I would make some sort of press tool, but we'll just work with what we got today, and this should be fine. All right, before I put my battery in, we'll just let it cool off a little bit. And as you can see, it's not quite perfect. There's a little bit of wobbliness to it because it wasn't supported on both sides. This was just heat it with a heat gun and torch on the bench sort of situation here. All right, that's cool. Pardon me, cool enough. And hey, look, the battery slips right in. It's got just a teeny bit of wiggle room in there, but that's fine. I can always put a little bit of foam or something like that. But as compared to the stock setup, this is far, far better. And as compared to my cardboard setup, it's at least far better. Maybe not far, far better. There we go. Moment of truth, let's see if it fits. It's probably gonna hit the transmission. And I'll need to take out those little battery, there's these little battery nubs. You'll see them when I take them out here. We'll need probably this size. Oh yeah, and it looks like they hid the screw heads to be able to take this out without taking apart the entire thing. Of course they did. So we'll see if I can get to it. And if I can't, oh, it just barely fits. So we'll say if I can't, I'm going to take a tool to it and just forcibly remove it. Oh, I just barely. I should really be using a ball driver. Oh well. Yeah, once it gets loose, we can actually angle the head. There we are. All right, so these are the little things that come in there, and it's movable. You can use it to keep your battery in one spot, I suppose. But let's see, moment of truth, will this fit? I do have a little bit of electrical wiring going through there. That's my fault. Push that aside. Oh, it may be just a hair too wide of a bend. Just a little bit too wide of a bend. So we can fix that. On one side, it's fine. On the other side, it's a little bit. Oh, it's like the width of the plastic too wide. So I can see where my mark is, and my bend was just a little bit further out from that. And what I can do is add a little bit more heat, and then we can probably just smash that down on really either side would be fine, but this side's the shorter side, so I'm going to try to bring that bend a little tighter in. We'll see how this works. No, maybe this way. Yeah, this way. So we'll see. We'll see how this works. All right, let's see if I can get one spot. Oh yeah, that's smushed. That's smushed much better. Honestly, it's just one side that was the problem, so if I can just fix one side, it'll fit. Custom molded, we call it. Oh yeah, it's much closer to the place that it needed to be bent. Yeah, I'll just do that, because it really only is supported on the edges, so I'm gonna smush this one. And then we'll see how it fits. Let me know in the comments if there are easier ways for me to do this. Thermoplastic molding is not something in my wheelhouse, really. Oh yeah, she's getting melty now. Smoosh. There we go. Did I smush it far enough? I guess we'll find out here in a second. Ho ho ho! Looking good. Or at least better than it was. Now we just need to get this to slide in all the way. It's kind of tight. You know what would... that was dirt. All right, what would help is actually a little angle on the tips of these to give us a little room for installation. There we go. Other side too. Ha-ha! All right, it's in there. It's not quite wanting to stay because it's tight enough that, you know, it wants to pop back out. Mostly the radius on the edges. I could just hit it with a heat gun while it's installed. There's a little bit of risk to that because there's other plastics that may not enjoy being hit with heat. Oh well, they can deal with it. How about that? They can just deal with it. Good old forming tool here. That works though. There we are. Now we can always, you know, add some double-sided tape or something like that to keep it from popping out if necessary. However, we do have this neat hood that goes down, and that is going to hold it nicely, although I can see this edge is just a teeny bit too tall. We can always fix that real quick. There we go. It's not the prettiest, it's not perfect, but it is definitely going to work for us. And I guess I'll be more accurate about this. Can I be more accurate? Maybe not. We'll just do this. Really doesn't need much taken off. There we go. It doesn't look that bad, does it? All right, look at there. Just look at it. Would you look at that? So it's not hitting anything that it doesn't need to hit. It could sit down a little more flush, but again, I kind of hacked this whole bending process together with what I had laying around. And now the moment of truth. With the way that this is kind of like bent and cupped and sort of nasty bend-wise, it's probably going to hold this pretty well. Oh yeah, and it does. That's nice. I mean, there's a little bit of side-to-side room. I can always pop a little bit of foam in one edge or the other, or both edges, and solve that. However, what we do have now is a battery tray. And I feel a lot better about this battery tray as opposed to this battery tray, because this one, you know, is better than nothing, but even hard hits and bounces, it's going to end up putting direct pressure on the batteries in ways that they don't like. They really don't like sharp pressures on the edges. It's not good for the cells. Unplug that just so we don't have potential problems. There we go. Ooh, yes. And then the shake test. So as you can see, it was pretty easy. You will need some sort of heat. If you had time, you could use a lighter. If you don't have a wife, you could use your oven. Don't do that in the oven with significant others. Also, probably not a good idea to do it in an oven if you have kids eating food. But a little side to side. All the rest of the rattles are just the rig itself. So, all right, success. The next time you see this rig, it is going to be wheeling. So let me make sure. Let me just make sure that it works before I say that. All right, we got to pull this battery tray out first, though. Get our power where we can reach it. This thing has running lights, I guess, that I don't have hooked up. There we go. Hey, and plenty of room to run that wire around sideways. We've got ourselves a GT3 receiver, which means we need to use the GT3. All right, maybe able to do it this ways. Yes, indeed. Hey, it only beeped twice. Yeah, stock servo's about done. You know, maybe we can get one more wheeling out of it, but I should probably replace that first, which isn't a big deal. All right. I think our battery might be about dead. Let's check real quick, because that only went beep, beep, and it's a 3-cell battery. We needed to go beep, beep, beep. Meep, meep, meep. Not even turning on the battery checker. Not a good sign. It might be time for me to get some new batteries. I don't know how many years old these are. How about let's check this one. 3.82 volts per cell. Perfect. Well, not for fully charged perfect, but for being on the shelf perfect. There we go, 3 beeps, that's more like it. Beepity bleep bleep. There we go. And so I got it on the wrong model here, but we were having some problems with low speed control on this truck, and it turns out there was a broken gear. So of course you're gonna have some problems with low speed control. But for a brushed system, I believe there's a Magnum in this sucker. There is a Magnum. Oh, it's a prototype Magnum. There we go. For brush mode with that much wheel speed, yeah, that crawls just fine. Cool. Hey, well, it runs. Before I take it out, I might replace that servo, but it isn't needed. Let's see, how much torque does this servo have? None. That's how much. It's a stock servo. What do you expect, I guess? There we go. Hey, I feel a lot better about this now. It is operational. It has been years since I got this out, and we're gonna actually have to plan our outdoor filming because the mosquitoes are so incredibly bad, because we had like a month straight of rain. And I'm gonna have to tell my filming guy, hey, you should wear pants today so we can film outside. Or maybe we'll find a cool morning here in the next week or two. So there we go. Nice. This guy's ready to run. Still needs more work like most of them do, but we're gonna set her to the side and she'll be ready for next time. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. If you got any questions about the build or maybe some tips for bending this stuff, what did I call it again? It's not Kydex, it's not Delrin or acetyl. It is normally white. I remembered it once. All right, we'll have to review the video for me to remember what it is. But if you remember, post it down below. As always, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.